Hey guys, Korean Macaroni here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to show you how to go from a foundation, slip knot in a foundation chain, to crocheting single crochets in rows. So what I'm doing is I'm just showing you I have my tail end, I have my foundation chain, I have my foundation chain on my crochet hook, and I have my working yarn. So I'm just going to show you real quick what happens if you mess up what you do. In this applies to even when you're doing rows, rounds, whatever you're doing. So say you accidentally made an extra one, or your yarn gets in that last crochet loop and it just looks messy, or you don't like it. All you do is you tug on the working yarn very gently and pull out those loops, and then it's voila, it's fixed. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump right in to doing single crochets from a foundation row. So we will be working back and forth in rows. So we are going to skip the first V stitch. This will count as a single crochet in the next row. So we're going to go into the top of each V and do one single crochet. And just like the last video, I am just using whatever yarn and whatever crochet hook so you can see better. So right now I'm just showing you the V's and the end of my yarn and the working yarn. And then we're going to go into the top of the V's. And we'll get into it later, but every pattern's different. Sometimes you just go into the top, you go into both loops. There's endless ways and it makes up different patterns and different textures and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to skip the first one, and we're going to go into the second top of the V. And I struggled here for a minute, but I'll get it in a second. There we go. So we go into the top of that V. We're going to yarn over. So we have two loops on a hook, the one we had from before, and then the one we went into. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and we're going to have two loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through two. We're going to do the same thing into the next chain space. So we're going to go into the top of that V, right there. We're going to go into the top of that V, and we're going to pull up a loop, and we'll have two loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through two. So we're going to go into the next chain space, and we're going to go through the top of the V, only the one top of the V, and we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. And we'll have two loops on our crochet hook. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through two. So we're going to go into the next chain space. We're going to go through the top of that V. We're going to pull up a loop. We'll have two loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through both. And those will create your single crochet row. You do this all the way until the end, and I zoom in so you can get some better footage of seeing it up close, and I also speeded up some of the video, and towards the end I did slow it down in case you didn't get it. And like always, practice makes perfect, so keep practicing. If you don't get it on the first try, don't get frustrated, keep trying. So we're just going in each of those top of those V's, putting our crochet hook through the top of the V, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through two. So now we're going to go into the next chain space. We're going to put our hook through the top of that V, we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. We're going to go into the next chain space, into the top of that V, and we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two. We're going to go into the next chain space. We're going to go to the top of the V, through the top of the V, and we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to go to the next one, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do this all the way to the end, and this will create our first single crochet row on the foundation chain. So now I'm going to show you how to go from the foundation chain to one single crochet row to getting into doing multiple rows of just basic single crocheting back and forth so you can practice and so you can get the hang of it. So I'm just showing you it from the tail end up when we did the foundation row, and from the foundation row we went over back to that tail, so we're back at the beginning. So now what we're going to do is, like in the beginning we skipped a row, we skipped a row, we skipped a chain space, and this was because we are creating a foundation for our rows. It's going to look nice and neat. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Remember, always turn your work when crocheting in rows. Now in rounds, it's a completely different story. So now I'm just showing you that at the top we have the V's again, and this is our new row. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip that first one because we did a chain 1. We're going to go into the second chain space, and we're going to put our crochet hook under those 2 V's. So skipping the first one, going into the second, making sure our hook is underneath both of those V's. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through 2. We're going to go into the next one, and we're going to put our hook through, and making sure that both of those V's are on top. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. We are going to have 2 loops. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2. So it's the same stitch over and over and over. We just have to remember when starting, we skip 1 chain for single crochets, and then we go on to the next row. We're going to chain 1. Just always remember that. So we go to the next chain, and we go in that hole. Make sure the V's are on top of our hook. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Go through the V's, underneath the V's, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Go into the next space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Go into the next space, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I sped up the footage, and I do have some footage that is slowed down for you, as just like always, if I'm going too fast or you didn't get it, you can also rewind, do whatever you need to do to learn this. It's simple once you get the hang of it. It's not as hard as it seems. I've been crocheting for, let's see, 13 years almost. So now I'm going to slow the footage down, and we're going to do another row. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work. Remember, turning your work is good. It's key. Always turn your work when working in rows. So because we chained 1, we're going to skip that first chain space. We're going to go into the second chain space. So we're skipping the first, and we're going into the second chain space. So we put our hook, make sure they're under those V's. So under the V's, we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to have 2 loops on our hook, just like we always have. Yarn over and pull through 2. And that is another starting of a new row. So again, we're just going to do that same crochet over and over, the same crochet stitch over and over. So go through underneath the V's, pull up a loop, make sure you have 2, yarn over, pull through both. Now we're going to go into the next chain space. Make sure that we're under those V's. And don't worry if you don't hold your work and your yarn and your needle the way I do, or the hook. It'll take a little bit. Just hold it however makes you feel comfortable enough for you to practice. So going through that chain space, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through 2. We're going to go into the next chain space, and we're going to go under those V's. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on our hook. Now when you're doing this, don't worry if it's not as neat as mine. I've been crocheting for almost 13 years, remember that. So I do want to mention that I have some tension. So don't crochet too tight, too loose. If you crochet too tight, it might be harder for you to get your crochet hook to go into those chain spaces, or you might just get all jumbled up. And if you crochet too loose, it might look messy, and you might skip a few holes. It depends. So try and have a nice even tension and just practice. This is going to be the best practice for you, is just doing the foundation chain into the single crochets and doing crochet rows, because from the single crochet rows on, it'll just get easier for you, and you'll realize how you're supposed to hold the yarn and how you're supposed to have your tension and all of that. So I recommend starting off with the foundation chain and just single crochets, because it's simple, it's basic, it's the fundamentals of getting started in crochet. So with that being said, I hope that you have learned something in this video, and if you have any comments, questions, comment down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hit that notification